Okay. So the other day we do a Waldorf homeschool curriculum, and in that curriculum we looked at the infinity loop, which is, like the number 8 sideways. And one of the things that in this Waldorf is really an amazing. It's in here. Well, the Rudolf Steiner created just an amazing framework to teach children. And even though some of the Waldorf schools are not, I don't think, following it, that type of thing, at least in terms of what's going on now, Rudolf Steiner was just a beautiful, there's a few things I don't love about anyway, a lot of patriarchal stuff, but other than that, it's really beautiful. And my whole point is that when we were learning about this, the infinity loop, the number 8, and what we did, I did this with my kids the other day. We actually walked in our yard in the shape of this infinity loop. And when you're on the outer edge, let me just draw this for you. See if I can find a blank piece of paper in here somewhere. When you're on the outer edge of the loop, so here we are, I'll try to do it backwards. So here we're in summer. When we begin summer, we go into a time of expansion. And when, there's activity, we're out in the outer world, and we've been in that time of expansion, and, things are growing. We're feeling, putting more energy outward. And then we move into a time of contraction, which is when we start to enter this phase, this part of the loop. That's when we go into fall, and it gets to be having a hard time doing this backwards here. There we go. And you get into fall, and we enter a time of going inward. The trees are beginning to rest. They're beginning to lose their leaves. They're beginning to conserve their energy. And so as we go into more contraction, that's winter. And one of the things that they talk about in Waldorf is that we all need these times of expansion and contraction, that there are times when we're giving out a lot of activity and a lot of energy, and we're talking, it's like the extrovert introvert thing. And then there are times when we just naturally feel that we want to go into rest, we want to read, we want to have quiet time. I know that around mid-afternoon, late afternoon, I go into that time of contraction where I've been meeting with clients or doing something with my kids all day, and I need that time to go inward and just retreat and recharge. And so that is what really happens at the seasons, is that the plants, they go inward, they conserve their energy as a way to recharge. So it's just a beautiful way to really mirror our human experiences and our bodies, and with the cycles of nature. And of course, the indigenous people when they're on this planet knew this. They would really align, use nature and the forces of nature and the cycles of the seasons and the astrological influences of the moon, of course, and the sun, to guide their lives as to when they would plant, to when they would go out and hunt, to when they would have time, to celebrate, maybe have dance around the fire, or to just do some, quiet, whatever it was, craft work or something. So I really believe that that's what, we're all learning these skills that were not taught to us in public school. In fact, it was much of public school is that children are in a state of extended contraction, not having enough time to move around and be in that state of expansion. And so when they get home, often my son used to be like this. It's like just this chaotic, I don't know what the word is, just this chaotic, unaligned, misaligned energy from being in an extended state of contraction. Whereas sometimes, if I think there's the other end too, when this, if you're wandering around all day, the children have too much free range and not at least a little bit of structure, they can be in an extended state of expansion and they want a little more guidelines. And so, we try to do a little bit of both, obviously, but I think it's an interesting analogy that can help guide us in our lives in general. So we, right now, it's easy to have our energies be pulled into the outer world, into what's happening around us, into just, getting involved in all the constant, now what's happening today in the news, and now what are they doing now, and now what's, what are just, it's a never ending roller coaster. Whereas if we unplug and we go inward and disengage from that, we can really come back into alignment with our truest selves and into the alignment with these natural phases of nature and of the cycles of the seasons and the elements around us in the natural world. So I think it's really exciting that a lot of us are learning more about that. And I certainly am, with the Waldorf that we're doing with our children, through homeschooling. So I wanted to do a meditation this evening to help bring us into that state of balance. Today being the equinox, equal night, equal day, equal light, equal dark. And what we're seeing now in the collective is the shadows showing themselves. All that it is, the controls, the mandates, all these trying to force people to do things. And so many people, not as many as we would think, right, are starting to see what's really going on underneath the surface, the darkness, the dark. And it is about polarity. There's so much light coming in on the planet. So much energy is being blasted at us to help us awaken, to help us expand our light bodies. But then the dark tries to rise up to meet the light. And and it's not all bad, right? We need to actually see the light. You need dark. There's to have the contrast, and to see the dark, we need light. So today's such a perfect day to really bring our awareness to the light and the dark within each of us as well, because as above, so below. And we all have these. The only reasons a lot of this stuff is even able to still exist in the collective is because it is a mirror of what's in ourselves. And that when I go in the Akashic Records, what comes up a lot is they want us to start taking personal responsibility for our lives and not giving our power away, not waiting for somebody to save us, and not blaming somebody else for what we can actually take responsibility for, take back power, really an agency over our lives. Easier said than done when we really haven't had the opportunity to learn how to do that, but we're learning how to do that now. So in this meditation, I think I want to bring in that sense of balance and that sense of, equanimity, of how do we, like I just said this to somebody today in a session, actually came up in a reading. When you're on, it's no coincidence, I love how that works. Somebody's on, if you're on a seesaw, those teeter-totters, like a playground, and somebody's sitting up really high and the other person's down low, and there's like this slope, and you want to come into that place of balance, like a scale. Then you need to adjust. Somebody needs to adjust their weight so you can find that place of balance. And really, I believe, and I pick up on this as well, that the truth almost always lies somewhere in the middle. That there's all these polarities. There's this, is this true on this side? There's like the media narrative. Some of it's true, some of it's not. Then there's, some of the, how do I say this, alternative sources of information that some people call it conspiracy theory stuff. And a lot of it's true, but some of it's not. So there's usually a balance. The truth is somewhere in the middle. And but the middle is becoming a very lonely place. There's not a lot of space in the middle, and not a lot of people who say, hey, I'm in the middle. I've certainly fallen more on one end in this whole thing, but I do honestly come back to the middle a lot more and more to see both sides. So I think that's where ultimately being in that place of centeredness and seeing both polarities for what they are, and not being on one end and being on the other end, is what's going to get us out of this, and what's going to help us move into higher states of consciousness and unity through compassion, through understanding the other. So, all right, let's do a little meditation to invoke this. We'll see what comes up. So you can close your eyes and take a deep breath in and a slow exhale. Breathing in the autumn air, breathing in the shift in seasons, breathing in that transition in your bones. And then slowly exhale out whatever you can leave behind from summer. Maybe there's things you want to leave behind, exhaling that out. And then your last inhale in, breathing in the things you want to carry with you from the season of summer. All the joy, all the time outdoors, playing, being warm, swimming. Breathe that in, soak that up, integrate that into your body. And now slowly, slowly exhale out, just settling in to this new phase, settling into your body. And just breathing naturally. So often we want to be somewhere other than where we are. And I know a lot of us don't want summer to end. We want it to keep going on. Yet, if we can accept that the only thing certain in life is uncertainty and is change, then we can learn to flow with the cycles, the wheel that is always turning and carrying us through our lives. And knowing that we are being divinely guided every step of the way, and that sense of being supported and guided can help bring us a sense of peace and of stability and of knowing that the sun will always rise the next morning and then it will set again. In the sense of knowing the predictability of nature can bring us some sort of peace to settle into. And as you go inward, just notice how you're feeling at this moment of transitioning of the seasons. Notice if there is a part of your body where you feel a little off balance. Maybe it's one side of your body that feels off balance. If it's the left side, that would be the receiving side, the feminine side. If it's the right side of your body, that's the giving side, that's the masculine side, the yin and the yang. Just notice. You notice about both sides of your body. And see if, as you breathe, if you can breathe some equanimity, some balance, be distributed equally among both sides of your body, both legs, both arms, both lungs, all organs, either side of your spine, both sides of your brain, either both eyes, both ears, both shoulders, and all the other parts of your body that come in pairs. Can they come into alignment, into balance? somehow. You may notice that in your heart, maybe in your belly, there's emotions that arise, maybe in your throat. And there's emotions that can feel unbalanced. Maybe there's more anger, or there's more sadness, or maybe there's more joy. Than the opposite emotion of these. But as you look through your life, you may see that there are times when you feel sad, and there are times when you equally feel joyful. In recent months, it may seem more negative than positive. And sometimes this is simply about perspective. Often it is. If we give our attention to something that is rooted in low vibration emotions, anger, fear, jealousy, guilt, worry, shame, then we can feel that way more of the time. But if we choose to focus on things that bring in high vibrations and emotions, gratitude, peace, love, joy, contentment, generosity, forgiveness, then we can feel more balanced and more in the flow, more aligned, knowing that there always are times of sadness and anger and fear. But when we consciously choose joy, when we choose love, when we choose gratitude, when we choose these other high vibration feelings, then we are in more of a state of a good sort of stasis. So take a moment and imagine you feel the scale, maybe in your heart, some kind of a scale in your body, that notice if it's tipping in one direction, and notice which direction, what emotions are associated with that direction it's tipping in, and see if you can bring it back to center. Just breathe into it for a moment. Just imagine that scale is coming perfectly into balance. Maybe you feel light or flow of almost like water helping to tip the scale in one direction or another to eventually land in the middle. You feel other divine energies supporting this, supporting you. And allow yourself now to breathe in how it would feel to be in this place of balance. If you moved through your life in this state of balance, what would that feel like? How could your life be different? Allow this feeling of peace, of alignment, of being one with all that is, and being in a state of contentedness. Allow this to permeate into your bones, to flow through every cell in your body, to be fully integrated at all levels of your mind, body, spirit, and soul. Being almost like the Buddha nature, the Bodhisattva, allowing that energy to be with you no matter what comes your way. And this is the way of the peaceful warrior. Take a deep breath and bring your hands in prayer position to your heart center if you like, or over your heart, or whatever feels right to you. Just giving thanks, honoring the spirits of the natural world, the ancestors, teachers and guides, the wise ones, the ancient ones, the Buddha, and the indigenous elders who have been with us, helping to guide this meditation. We honor your teachings, we honor your guidance, and we give thanks for your being with us at this time. May we have the courage to continue to move forward for the healing and uplifting of consciousness in our planet and for all humanity. May it be so. So it is. Take a deep breath, slow exhale, and begin to come back into your body, stretching out. I'm always curious about how that lands with people. I'd love to see comments if you want to share what that was like for you. It's always interesting what, I never really know who's going to be helping to guide this, but I did feel, spirits, the great spirit, I was talking about the cycles of nature, and that really brings in the energy of the Native Americans and the indigenous elders. And then that, the energy of the wise Eastern ascended masters, really, the Buddha, Confucius, different. I'm not sure who they are, but I picked up on both of those. So hopefully this was helpful for you in some way. I also, I was picturing just the serene, sense of just, like the peaceful warrior, just the peaceful Buddha, just kind of being like this, just being in that state of not being affected, or being in that place of stasis. I'm trying to find the right word. Neutrality, I guess, for even when there's so much that's up and down and raging. And that inner balance and inner peace can just guide us, like, flowing through life. So thanks for joining me this evening. And let's see what's coming up here. I had an amazing retreat just last weekend. And so I'm doing another retreat in October in the Divine Feminine. The overnight spots are now full. Actually, there might be one shared space left in a shared room. But if you want to join us for the day, there's still a few spots for that. And I'm also doing a class on how to communicate with angels, which is an online class, but there's a few live gatherings for that. And so angels are super powerful. They're probably helping to guide this all session anyway. They can help shift energy. They can help raise our vibration. They help us connect, open our third eye, and just feel love in our hearts, learn to unconditionally love and accept ourselves. And they can bring things in our lives that we seek. So if you want to learn how to do that, and I will teach you. I work with angels all the time and can tell you some amazing, unbelievable stories. You'll also learn how to do angel readings for others, just to kind of connect with angelic energy. So it starts in a few weeks. I'll post the link here if anybody wants to check it out. I will do this probably, once a year. So let's see, I just posted on Facebook. Let me post it here in Zoom. Okay. And other than that, I'm working on finishing this workbook that you all probably have heard me talk about. It's tentatively called a Guide to the New Earth, Tools for Awakening Times. Is that what it's called? Something like that. And it's basically everything that I've done over the past 7 years, tools, how to open the third eye, how to work through the ego, how to open the Akashic, learn how to read the Akashic Records, co-create your future self, learn about the divine laws of resonance and compensation and just everything, taking action steps. I'm really excited about it. It's been a lot of work. Next weekend, not this one, but next weekend, I'm going holing up in this inn in Mid-Coast, Maine to just finish all the revisions to hopefully get it done. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to go say goodnight to my kiddos. Much love to you all. Thanks so much for being here. Have a good night. Bye.